It's a long walk from here as well. Left and right, eventually into daylight. A good crowd as well at Selhurst Park. Dean Holdsworth back. 7 in 6 games for Holdsworth. There we go. Into the daylights. Let's join our match commentators, Don Howe and Ian Crocker.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. It may be wet, very, very wet, but there's a real carnival atmosphere in southeast London. The balloons and those red and yellow cards that you saw earlier have been handed out freely. We represent the small, honest working man, says Chairman Sam Haman about Wimbledon, coming to the end of their 2nd season as Selhurst tenants. They may have secured survival in the Premier League, but manager Joe Kinnear demands 100% all the time, wherever they may be, and that's why he was louder than the ghetto blaster in the dressing room after last week's 6-2 mauling at Oldham. Let's take a look then at the Wimbledon lineup. At the back, Warren Barton and Scott Fitzgerald come in for Peter Fear and Dean Blackwell, who's on the bench. John Fashanu starts a ban. Andy Clark comes in wearing 11 with Gerald Dobbs at number 9.
Well, Ian, I would say that looking at the setup there, obviously it's a system that they've used over this last kind of 6 years that's held them in good stead. The quality really is winning knockdowns. You know, they hit the ball directly in the channels, squeeze up behind those long balls and win the knockdowns. That's why people like Robbie Earle and Laurie Sanchez will be very important, especially Robbie Earle. He's one of the best attacking midfield players in the Premier Division.
With Middlesbrough and Sheffield United winning and Oldham picking up a point in midweek, the Easter weekend could make or break Crystal Palace, now only 2 points off the drop zone, and they meet Borough here on Monday. They've treated today very much as an away game, spending lunchtime in a hotel, only arriving around 2 o'clock. Key men Chris Armstrong and Eric Young still banned, of course. There's one change from last week. Dean Gordon comes in for George Ndar at number 5. That's the only change on the team that drew with QPR.
Well, here again, I suppose Eddie McCulloch is the one who then move around a lot. And he's been playing sweeper for lots of games. He then plays outside right to play it. Today he's playing right back. But here again, it's in midfield. Jeff Thomas, who rates alongside Robbie Earle as perhaps 2 of the best attacking midfield players in the game. They both can get in the opponent's box, and when they get there, they can put it away. Although their goal-scoring record this season is not as good as it used to be.
And there are 2 key men in the middle of the field. What a battle it's going to be between them, the 2 number 8s, Tom, Jeff Thomas and Robbie Earle.
Well, like I say, I mean, Jeff Thomas, he's just come back after that long injury that's kept him out perhaps for the most part of the season. But he'll be in that box every time he gets the chance. And he's good, he's a great finisher with his feet, and he's very good in the air as well. He gets his head onto things. A very brave header of the ball.
Today's referee is Vic Callow, vastly experienced from Solihull in the West Midlands. And conditions here really reminiscent of the night, perhaps Crystal Palace's best night of the season so far, when they beat Chelsea in the Coca-Cola Cup quarter-final. Really boggy, really swaggy, and it's Palace in their famous striped red and blue that get us off and running in southeast London. Chris Coleman wearing number 4, but don't be confused by that because he'll be playing up front with Paul Williams. In fact, most of the Palace numbers bear little resemblance to where they actually play position-wise. Roger Joseph clearing it away towards Gerald Dobbs. Holdsworth, and the foul on Dobbs. It'll be a free kick, first free kick of the game, which Laurie Sanchez is in a big hurry to take. Trying to find Dobbs and Holdsworth. Simon Roger battling for it as well, and Andy Thorne has to knock it into touch.
Well, straight away in, we've seen the tactics both teams are going to use. It's going to go early into that channel, into the corners of the pitch.
It was Robbie Earle with perhaps the first half chance of the game, really. Nigel Martin barely troubled though, but Earle showing straight away that he is going to be a danger man.
Oh, he'll join the 2 strikers in the box. He'll be making that direct run right through the middle of the spot, right through the penalty spot, right between the 2 strikers, right between their 2 centre-backs.
Chris Coleman forward, and the offside flag was up against Dean Gordon and possibly Paul Williams as well. Williams, of course, who joined from Sheffield Wednesday back at the start of the season. He's had his injury problems and he's yet to score for Crystal Palace. In fact, the last goal he got was against Crystal Palace, the Sheffield Wednesday here at Selhurst, in around about the second game of the season, I think. Here's Simon Osborne. Now Williams, can he do something here? No, he can't, because Scott Fitzgerald was there. Throw-in taken quickly towards Osborne. Can he get the crossing? Coleman is in the middle. Dean Gordon at the far side. And the cross from Simon Osborne just went away from everybody. Gordon, though, trying to get it back in, and Roger Joseph happy to blast it into touch.
That was good play, though, the early throw-in. He picked it up, Paul Williams, got the ball in the back of the defenders, and straight away it was a very dangerous cross.
Palace still looking to find a way in the end it comes to Laurie Sanchez. Andy Thorne leaving it for young Simon Roger, just 21 years of age, Sussex born. Roger Joseph penalised. And it'll be Roger to take this free kick, and this could be interesting for Palace. Big Andy Thorne going forward from the back, standing close to Coleman in that crowded edge of the penalty area, and it'll be Simon Roger to send it in. Eventually. Same towards Dean Gordon, who got the header up, and always worth a go from that sort of distance in these slippery conditions, but Hans Segers was equal to it.
Yeah, but they did well, Wimbledon. They kept them out on the edge of the box. They didn't back in on that free kick, so the header had got to travel that 12 yards. Distance was keeping the ball well away from the goal.
Now here's one for Paul Williams to chase, but the offside flag was up against him.
Yeah, we're going to see plenty of that as well, Ian. We're going to get a lot of this squeezing up. Both teams use that tactic. Every time the ball travels away from their goal, they'll squeeze up behind it.
Scott Fitzgerald then to take the free kick. Aimed towards Gerald Dobbs, who got sent off at Oldham last week, hoping for better luck this week. Coleman now, as he put Paul Williams through, that's going out of touch. Williams in the thick of the early action, takes the throw in to Osborne, and that won't quite come off, and away for a Wimbledon goal kick.
It looks as though Crystal Palace have been working at those quick throw-ins. The nearest man, as soon as the ball goes over the touchline, the nearest man gets hit, and then there's breaks off the ball behind defenders, and then the throw goes in the back of defenders.
Joe Kinnear appointed as Wimbledon boss in January 1991 after a rather short Peter Wives spell as boss here. And he's done a great job, hasn't he, along with Terry Burton, who also deserves a fair bit of praise, the assistant manager. The goal kick there, and Andy Clark almost got in. Nigel Martin with a confident clearance. Unbeaten in 6 games, 5 of those were draws, plus a crucial 1-0 win at Sheffield United. Hardly relegation form, really, but when you're stuck down at the bottom, you can't afford to draw, you have to win a few. 6 unbeaten, though, going into this one. Scott Fitzgerald, once again, will take the free kick, coming in for Dean Blackwell. It's come through the trainee ranks at Wimbledon. Aimed towards Dean Holdsworth, the goal machine. Now, can Dobbs find a way into the 6-yard box? No, he can't, because Andy Thorne was covering, and it'll be a corner. Wimbledon's first of the game. Andy Thorne, key figure for Crystal Palace.
And this is where Crystal Palace have got to be well organised, because they do spend a lot of time on the dead ball situations, Wimbledon.
It's going to be Neil Ardley to swing it in. Near post as well. Oh, and it's going to be Nigel Martin. It's gone out again. And it's Martin, I think, kept it in.
Well, although he went over the line, Martin, I think the ball always stayed just inside the pitch rather than outside the pitch. No, it was a close thing.
Now Gordon knocking it down here for Chris Coleman. Support arriving from Simon Roger. Jeff Thomas picking it up, but Robbie Earle is there to tidy up for Wimbledon. Now Roger Joseph. Down the line for Gerald Dobbs to chase, and that stayed in, and Andy Thorne with an important sliding tackle. The rain still teeming down here in southeast London. adding really to the carnival atmosphere. Laurie Sanchez to take the throw, always a man for the big occasion. Laurie Sanchez scored the FA Cup final winner in '88, of course, and I remember him getting the winner at Old Trafford earlier in the season when Wimbledon nicked a 1-0 win there. Now he's fine. Gerald Dobbs will get the cross in. That was a dodgy moment for Crystal Palace, and Jeff Thomas took the safe route out and knocked it behind for the corner.
Yeah, but it was a clever little cross there, and Robbie Earle nearly got on the end of it, didn't he? It's good defending. But he's right in there straight away, Robbie Earle.
Neil Ardley going across to take Wimbledon's second corner of the game. Scott Fitzgerald has come up from the back in the box. Ardley swinging it in on the near post, and it's going to come for Sanchez. Took an awkward deflection here, Robbie Earle, and the flag has gone on his left-hand side. It will be a free kick to Palace.
Well, there you see. This was say they're well organised as well, Crystal Palace, to defend. The ball comes in, it gets knocked out, and as soon as the ball's going to the back post, out come those defenders. Leave a couple of the Wimbledon lads on the edge of the box offside.
Wimbledon's recent form not too bad, save for that 6-2 defeat at Oldham last week. Before that they picked up 10 points out of 12, but here go Crystal Palace now. And the shot will come in from Gordon, easily blocked. Is Eddie McGoldrick in a bit of space, and it was taken off his toes by the other number 11, Andy Clark. Sagers the clearance and the push from Andy Thorne on Jerry Dobbs. Andy Thorne already in the thick of the action, and no surprise really, up against his old club, of course. He was an FA Cup winner with Wimbledon in 1988, and that booked him a big money move to Newcastle United, and you can see what the fans think of it all the red and yellow cards that were dished out to them as they came through the turnstiles. And Sam Haman says it's all part of an Easter carnival atmosphere here as the speculative shot comes in from Jerry Dobbs.
You were talking then about Andy Thorne. He's the back four general. He's the fella who brings them out, knows when to play offside, knows when to push up. He's got a super defensive brain. He really knows how to play that position. He can get hold of the other three players who are playing alongside him and tell them when to push out, tell them when to stay.
Always worth a go, I suppose, from Jerry Dobbs. McGoldrick got there ahead of Clark. Osborne jumping with Warren Barton. Sanchez tidying up, and Fitzgerald trying to find Holdsworth. Good powerful header that by Richard Shaw, feeding Williams. Osborne, now Gareth Southgate well forward, and Fitzgerald covering. Steady Eddie McGoldrick then, who's played in quite a few positions for Crystal Palace this season, and that'll go away for Palace's first corner, knocked out by Warren Barton. Back in the side, came from Maidstone a few years ago. So can Palace do something with their inaugural corner of this South London derby? Simon Roger takes it. Sager's got some sort of punch onto it. It's knocked back goalwards. And a right old melee in there, and eventually Hans Sagers manages to grab hold of it. I think he may have taken a foot as well from Chris Coleman. But they pat each other. Hans Sagers, big lad, and favourite to get the Wimbledon Player of the Year award this season. He really has had a good time. We won't mention Oldham last week, did we?
Yeah, he did well, but as the ball comes in, he doesn't punch it properly, does he? And then he has another attempt at it, never gets hold of it. Out of his hands, and makes a good recovery there as Chris Coleman comes in to finish it off.
Now Andy Clark at the other end. He can't find a way through though, and here's Simon Roger, who's covering a lot of ground. Paul Williams will chase his. Good ball that. Williams now, support arriving from Chris Coleman. Williams turning inside, getting the shot in. And disappointing in the end, perhaps the sign of a man who has yet to score a goal for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but it was a good run by Paul Williams. As we said, the ball's in the channel, in the back of defenders. Off he goes. He's got a one-on-one in the box there. Tries to get onto his right foot. Scott Fitzgerald did very well.
Drifted around the non-league in Essex to Paul Williams before joining Charlton, and then went to Sheffield Wednesday. There's Hans Sagers, who started his career with his hometown club, PSV Eindhoven. Now Barton trying to put Neil Ardley through. Nigel Martin, ever present this season for Crystal Palace, born in St Austell, Britain's first £1 million goalkeeper. Good kick as well. Roger Joseph, though, with the chance to bring it away, blocked by Dean Gordon. Joseph, who played over 100 games for Brentford before joining Wimbledon, just after their cup final success 5 years ago. Palace won their home match with Wimbledon 2-0 over Christmas. Chris Coleman and Jeff Thomas scoring on that occasion, and a pretty bruising affair, as encounters between these two teams usually are. Quite a few bookings, and there's certain to be a lot of red and yellow cards here today, but mainly from the people in the crowd. Here's Roger Joseph. Ardley. Simon Roger coming in, and Ardley got past him but was tripped. Simon Roger, nicknamed the Bisto Kid, along with Simon Osborne, as they came through the youth team. And there you see again what the fans thought of it all, thought of that challenge.
You can't afford to give too many free kicks away in this position, not against Wimbledon. They'll make one of them tell.
And this could be tricky towards Holdsworth, and it'll go for another Wimbledon corner, their third of the game. Richard Shaw taking a bit of a knock, but he'll be okay. Doesn't want to stay down in this mud for too long.
I think he made a collision with Andy Thorne at the end. They both attacked it. Yeah. The two defenders collided with each other.
Neil Ardley then once again to take the corner for Wimbledon. It's towards the near post, it's knocked away. Dean Gordon might have well got the touch on that. Back towards Ardley though. And that's a good cross from Ardley. Andy Thorne was there just to slap it into touch.
What a great bit of control from Ardley there. The ball came out the air and he took it down beautifully.
Joined Wimbledon straight from school, Neil Ardley. Now Dean Gordon back defending. Cross skipped in, and this could be dangerous. Nigel Martin, though, will collect it coolly and confidently. A great throw out as well, always the sign of a good keeper. Osborne down the line for Williams to chase. Warren Barton happy to blast it out into
You're
the stand.
spot on there with the goalkeeper, Ian. I mean, that's what goalkeepers are about. Not only coming out and getting the ball and making the catch, but setting the counter-attack away straight away with a good throw.
McGoldrick. Put it back from Williams, and a wicket cross as well towards Dean Gordon. Will he get a touch on it? He will. The shot from Jeff Thomas this time. And eventually Wimbledon hook it clear. Now here's Paul Williams. Warren Barton can blast it out of touch.
Well, on that last cross, Dean Gordon did absolutely great on that back post. He pulled it back, and in there was Jeff Thomas.
Andy Clark, who came from Barnet, has Barry Fry to thank for his success. Barry sent a video out of him to various clubs. He had a trial with Manchester United, actually, before joining the Dons. Warren Barton then with the throw. Substitutes warming up early on for Crystal Palace. Grant Watts and John Humphrey on the bench for them today, as well as Martin Thomas, of course, the reserve keeper, who's on loan from Birmingham City until the end of the season. So too Louis Donowa, actually, but he hasn't figured yet in the first team setup. Paul Williams with an aimless ball, which Jeff Thomas will have to go some to get, and Sager's the favourite. Holdsworth and Clark jumping together.
You can see both teams are going to compete for every ball in every area of the pitch. Even Jeff Thomas ran all the way through there to put Seegers under pressure on his kick.
Could be Palace under pressure now, although that's going out for a goal kick. Dean Holdsworth definitely won't get to it. What a great buy he has been, though, from Brentford. 15 goals so far this season. He's got 5 of Wimbledon's last 6. He cost £725,000 plus a couple of players, Detsy Krasinski and Mickey Bennett, a combined deal of £1 million in all. Simon Osborne should get to this, and does. A neat little skill there from Osborne. Jeff Thomas feeding Roger. Dean Gordon. Disappointing from him.
I think that's the first little bit of kind of midfield play we've seen, where one team's attempted to put it together, 3 or 4 passes on the run. Normally it's just straight forward, straight back in the channel.
It's the 12th league meeting between these two teams. So far 2 have ended all square. Palarse have won 6 and Wimbledon just 3. Roger then with the throw. Joseph with the header. Now Ardley. Joseph will whack this, but only to Eddie McGoldrick. Fitzgerald now with an up and under. Again, McGoldrick is there. Important touch, not one of his better ones, but it took it away from Andy Clark. The throw-in, though, goes the way of Wimbledon, much to the dismay of the Crystal Palace fans on that touchline. And there is Vinnie Jones, suspended, of course, from this game. How he would have loved to be out there in these sort of conditions as well in a London derby. Another corner to Wimbledon. Andy Clark getting the better of that particular exchange with Simon Osborne. Wimbledon winning the early corner count. And Neil Ardley has taken all of them. Scott Fitzgerald coming up from the back, and Warren Barton. Referee has spotted some pushing. Vic Callow in an excellent position.
It was a silly time to give a foul away, because the ball dropped right on John Scales' head and he got a touch. It'd have been very dangerous to have to defend in that situation. You don't do that. You don't give silly fouls away in that area.
Warren Barton's header. Now, can Holdsworth get there, or will Richard Shaw? Holdsworth does. Support nearby from Clark. Still Holdsworth. Dean Holdsworth just won't let the ball go, and a great cross as well to Ardley. Ardley, though, it just skipped away from him. He'll pull it back inside for Robbie Earle, and Wimbledon take the lead. And it's Robbie Earle who gets the goal, and a great build-up as well. Dean Holdsworth finding Ardley, the perfect cross, and Robbie Earle celebrates his 6th goal of the season.
Yeah, well, the ball, he got all the ball, Dean Holdsworth, and you could see he got nowhere to go. He turns inside, it's a lovely diagonal ball, and the left back's overcovered. Ardley's onto it, and without hesitation he puts it back in the box, and who's in there? Robbie Earle. Straight through the penalty spot. That's a lovely diagonal ball. The little left back's just overcovering a little bit. No trouble putting that away. A good technical header down into the corner.
He said Robbie Earle would give the key man Don, and he's got the opening goal of this derby match to give Wimbledon the lead. And the pressure on Palarse now, because it's a game they can't afford to lose, with Middlesbrough, Sheffield United and Oldham all picking up points in midweek, and Borough and the Blades 3 points come to that. So Palarse looking for a way back into it with Dean Gordon, and they'll win the throw. Simon Roger will take that throw. Now Coleman and the linesman flagging, and Coleman presumably was being held, and it'll be a free kick, and this is a useful position for Palarse.
That's right, and that's a silly free kick by Roger Joseph. He's got his hands all over his man. No need to do that. Very dangerous.
Dean Gordon waiting, Chris Coleman and Jeff Thomas. It's not a particularly good cross, though. Scuffed effort by Gareth Southgate, who can certainly hit the ball better than that, and has done on a few occasions this season. It's the perfect reply to that 6-2 defeat at Oldham last week for Wimbledon. Joe Kinnear just about happy, I think, that Robbie Earle has given his side the lead. Came from Port Vale, £775,000. crucial goals this season as well, against Arsenal and Liverpool. Now Lawrie Sanchez, Ardley again making the run towards the right-hand side. The best of balls from Sanchez, and I don't think Ardley will keep it in. Well, he did, but only giving it to the opposition. Tackle there from Gerald Dobbs. Dean Gordon, voted Young Palace Player of the Year in the 90 to 91 season. Wimbledon's record too good against Crystal Palace, really, and they'll be happy to get that one under the belt. Here's Paul Williams. He was shackled out of it though, managed to win it back. And wins the throw. Now they need a goal from Paul Williams, Crystal Palace, or from anybody come to that. Simon Osborne bobbed around awkwardly. Scott Fitzgerald with the up and under. Coleman with a flick on. Easily cleared away from John Scales. Palace promoted to Division 1 via the playoffs back in 1989 after the so-called team of the 80s, and actually spent most of that decade in Division 2. Wimbledon, what a meteoric rise it's been for them. They entered the Football League back in 1978, and by 86 were in the top flight. Been here ever since.
It's a bit of a stalemate, all those throw-ins down that side. But Wimbledon will play the percentages. They'll keep throwing it down that line.
Now a chance for Palace to bring it away. That's not a good clearance, though. And look who's there, Robbie Earle. Gerald Dobbs will chase this, so too Simon Roger. And the cross came in from Sanchez towards Earle again, and Nigel Martin has lost it, and it's been hooked in! And Wimbledon have a second goal, a scramble in the box, and Nigel Martin lost the ball, and Dean Holdsworth celebrates, and it's all going terribly wrong for Crystal Palace, but it's all going brilliantly right for Wimbledon.
That's a typical Wimbledon goal. John Scales plonked it into the corner of the pitch. There he goes, right into the corner of the pitch. Young Gerald Dobbs chases after it. Neil Ardley catches it, sticks it in. All the challenge on the goalkeeper, out of his hands. Dean Holdsworth tucks it away. A typical Wimbledon goal.
So Crystal Palace now really in desperate trouble down at the bottom of the table, and this will encourage Sheffield United, who of course play tonight against Manchester City, and could well move above Palace. Dean Holdsworth then scoring yet again. He's now got 6 of Wimbledon's last 7.
The thing about it is, it's not just that they plonk it in the corner. Having plonked it in the corner, they get numbers in the box. And that's what it's about. There were 3 players around that cross Wimbledon got into the box. Now, they do work hard at the things they do.
Fitzgerald forward, and here goes Dino once again. Holdsworth, Richard Shaw will have to get the tackle in, and it was a good recovering tackle that from Shaw.
It was a great recovery tackle by Richard Shaw, because Dean Holdsworth was ready to stick that ball in that box again. There he goes, here comes Richard Shaw. It's a good day for a sliding tackle. Gets his foot to the ball and gets it out.
So Wimbledon certainly putting the pressure on Crystal Palace in the battle of the Selhurst sharers. Here Ardley to float it into the near post. Dobbs trying to get up with a header, but Dean Gordon got there first. Robbie Earle back to lay it off for Joseph. And Holdsworth in space on that right-hand side. There was nobody really marking him. And another corner for Wimbledon. Taking the mickey a bit at the moment.
Works every time, eh? They just keep plonking the ball in the back of defenders in the corner. They know exactly where it's going, Wimbledon. They always get a runner into that area, and then they get it into the box. It's a very simple way of playing, but so effective and quite exciting when they do it well.
Lawrie Sanchez waiting, shouting as well. Scott Fitzgerald also in the penalty area. Here it comes from Ardley towards Holdsworth. It was just too high for him. Now Fitzgerald. And the sliding tackle from Chris Coleman, which was perfectly fair.
I'll tell you what, he meant that, didn't he, Chris Coleman?
The Wimbledon fans showing their red cards in disapproval. Coleman, though, look at that. He wasn't going to let that one go.
Well, that's interesting. I think the referee let it go, but the linesman's given him a free kick.
Certainly has.
I thought Chris Coleman got his foot to that ball.
Maybe the way he slid in. And it was very close to the linesman. Ardley then whips it in. Nigel Martyn once more. And it will be whacked back in by Gerald Dobbs, but that won't count because the whistle had long gone for the challenge on Martyn.
You wouldn't fancy the goalkeeper's job either, would you? It's a wet, slimy ball in those conditions, and you've got 3 or 4 Wimbledon players coming at you. You wouldn't fancy catching it, would you, Ian? And if he's going to punch it like he did then, he's got to get height on that punch.
I don't think he'll be catching it much more after the second Wimbledon goal that Dean Holdsworth pounced on. So Simon Roger to take the throw and going back to his keeper. Really difficult conditions. It's been raining steadily here for most of the day. It's not the best of pitches in good weather. Scales looked like he was going to meet it. He didn't, but in the end it went through right to the other keeper, Hans Sagers. 31 years of age. Played 67 games for Nottingham Forest before moving to Wimbledon for £125,000. Gordon met that. Go to the other number 5, John Scales. Not a particularly good appearance from him. Gordon picks it up. Sagers will let it run.
They've got the same ideas, Crystal Palace. They're doing the same thing. They're trying to knock it in the back of defenders down the channel. They're picking the wrong time, and they're not getting the right weight on the ball. You see, it's just not a case of knocking it there. It's a case of when it gets in the channel, is it going to slow down and stop so people can catch it? And in these conditions, it's got to virtually be precise.
Well, Steve Coppell really does have problems. He was saying he thought his youngsters could get themselves out of trouble. At the moment, it's not looking that way in this game, at least. 2-0 to Wimbledon. Robbie Earle in the thick of it once more. Dean Holdsworth and Richard Shaw will taste this one. Who will get there first? Dean Holdsworth will, but on this slippery surface, very greasy. His first touch, it went straight out.
Well, I would think what Steve's doing, he's looking at his team here and thinking, well, how can we stop these balls coming forward? Obviously, he needs his front 4 players doing a lot more closing down. Don't let them hit these long balls at them.
2 matches here last season between the 2 teams, finished 1-1 and 3-2 to Crystal Palace. Roy Sanchez penalised there. Ironically, all the Palace scorers in those games last season, Bright, Wright, Gray and Gabbiadini, all long gone from Selhurst Park. Richard Shaw to take the free kick. And this is the time when Crystal Palace really do need to hit back. Shaw taking his time towards Coleman. There's nobody on the right-hand side. Eddie McGoldrick coming and winning it as well from Andy Clark. Support arriving from Osborne just behind him. It finds its way to Osborne eventually in a roundabout way. Now Gareth Southgate. Portman clearing header from Fitzgerald, and here go Wimbledon once more with Neil Ardley, and they could catch Crystal Palace on the break. Ardley just slowing things down and finding Roger Joseph. Joseph in towards Robbie Earle. Earle with a lovely header off that to Gerald Dobbs. Dobbs back in. Earle with a header. Great save from Nigel Martyn. And that must have shaved the post by millimetres.
Well, he's in there again, Robbie Earle, isn't he? He's a super header and a great save by Martyn. Gets his right hand to the ball and just keeps it outside the post. It looks as though they might scramble it over and can't catch it, and goes out for a corner.
Well, they really do need to pick up Robbie Earle in those sort of situations. Got the first goal, and so close there to a second one. And Wimbledon's third. Corner count really telling the story so far. Ardley swinging it in. That looked dangerous for a while. Dobbs with a header back, and Nigel Martyn will come and get that one.
Well, Neil Hardley keeps dropping those corners right on John Scales' head. He gets little touches. They've got to defend that near post better at corners at Crystal Palace.
Both the number 11s jumping. Eddie McGoldrick and Andy Clark. Southgate's header. Warren Barton. It's a bit of head tennis. Simon Roger now ought to be careful here because Neil Hardley was just behind him. Warren Barton, Crystal Palace fans urging Osborne to get a bit more involved. Eddie McGoldrick to take the throw in. Coleman was fouled by Warren Barton. Crystal Palace really missing Chris Armstrong as he completes a two-match ban for getting sent off at Sheffield United. Foolishly sent off as well, but doesn't need me to tell him that. And he would have learnt his lesson, that's for sure. Good ball by Andy Clark, that picked up by McGoldrick. Wimbledon once more with Clark. He's castled off the ball. Barely, says referee Vic Callow, who is right there watching. Now Paul Williams, and suddenly Williams finds a bit of space and a terrific drive as well. And Hans Sagers got down to it well.
The first time he's got himself in a better position into the centre of the pitch, Paul Williams. Did a good left-footed shot there. Nice turn. Could have gone a little bit closer for me.
Chris Coleman, Jeff Thomas, now Simon Osborne. Can this be the start of something promising for Palace as they seek to find a way back into it? Williams. Well, he's jinking and twisting and turning past Warren Barton, who wasn't fooled by it all. Southgate took that well, Gareth Southgate. And he should get a nice cross in here towards Dean Gordon. Roger Joseph was with him though, and here go Wimbledon once more. Cut out by Roger. Southgate and Andy Clark coming in, and Wimbledon just battling for everything a little bit more. Richard Shaw having a little bit of tussle there. Sagers, well, it will eventually go through to him. Chris Coleman threatening. Now Andy Clark, can he get there before McGoldrick? No, he can't. Eddie McGoldrick doing well. Now Gerald Dobbs, good ball to Neil Hardley. Once again that we're looking to get the cross in, and Robbie Earle surprisingly moving into the penalty area, wanting to get on the end of it. Hardley still, he's got two players on him, and still managed to find a route out. Sanchez now, Holdsworth let it go, and the 1-2 with Robbie Earle didn't come off. And Robbie Earle looking for a free kick, which didn't come off either.
Yeah, there was a lot of shirt tugging on the end of that box. It was a nice little let run by Dean Holdsworth, and he spun into the box. Southgate, one or two of the players there got hold of each other's shirts and pulled and pushed at each other.
Warren Barton now to Andy Clark. Clark let it go. Can Holdsworth get there? Yes, he can. And Clark, the offside flag though, up against Gerald Dobbs. Quite rightly so. Andy Thorne towards Williams. Now Simon Osborne. Coleman and Gordon in the penalty area, but it won't get to either of them. It only goes to Roger Joseph. Andy Thorne. Goldrick and Clark having a right old tussle in this game. Dean Gordon can pick this up. Thorne. It's too high for Chris Coleman, is it? No, he managed to get to it, but Sanchez scooped in. Trying to keep it in, Gerald Dobbs could only find the Palace keeper Nigel Martin, who started off his football career with St Blaisy down in Cornwall. Hasn't done too badly, but he'll rue that second goal, and in the slippery conditions he lost the ball and Dean Holdsworth pounced. Robbie Earle getting the first. Here's Laurie Sanchez. Again the offside flag was up, and again it was against Gerald Dobbs. I'll
tell you what, that was a close one. We're right in line with that one, and Richard Shaw He's just a little back of the other three defenders.
Andy Thorne then to take the free kick. And the offside flag this time, easily up against the Palace front line.
Yeah, well, they've got a little signal there of Wimbledon. And the signal goes, and as soon as the kicker puts his head down to kick the ball, out they come.
Joe Kinnear can certainly be happy with the first half efforts of his team, leading Crystal Palace by 2-0, and really they had to do something in this game after that 6-2 thrashing at Oldham. Simon Osborne. Dean Holdsworth, who got the second goal, got 38 for Brentford last season, a post-war record at Griffin Park that. Don't forget tonight, of course, on Sky Sports, Sheffield United against Manchester City. What a key game that is as well, particularly for the Blades, who could go above Palace if it stays as the way it is here. And then on Monday, Blackburn against Ipswich, who aren't out of trouble themselves, and Blackburn doing very well at the top. That's Monday at 7. Goldrick's throw to Coleman. Won't find its way to Paul Williams. It does find its way to Osborne, though. Now Williams, he's onside. Gets the cross in towards Jeff Thomas. And out Kane's hand Sagers. Gordon was waiting just behind him, so it was an important punch away.
A great cross by Williams there. And Sagers just got a touch, but it was enough.
They go Palace once more, though, with the skipper Jeff Thomas. One of the many who came out of Crewe. Started his career at Rochdale, though. Dean Gordon just took it too far, and Andy Thorne has to knock it out for the throw.
Here comes the cross. They tried to play offside, and he wasn't offside, Paul Williams. A lovely cross. Hands comes out and just gets a touch to it. Helps it on, out into space. Good goalkeeping.
As I said earlier, he is the favourite to get the Player of the Year award this season at Wimbledon. Now Gareth Southgate. It's one for Williams to chase. Fitzgerald there as well, and he opts not to go back to the keeper, and probably wisely so in these conditions. Scott Fitzgerald, 23 years of age, made his debut against Tottenham Hotspur back in 1990 as a substitute. So, here go Palace once again. And perhaps they don't. Roger Joseph coming in. Palace, who finished third in the 90-91 season. It was always going to be tough to follow that, and they couldn't, ending up 10th last season. And they've got a real relegation battle on their hands. Here goes Richard Shaw, though, and he's going to have a pot. And the sting was just taken out by Laurie Sanchez.
It's worth a go from that distance, especially in these conditions. He has a look, couldn't see anything on, thought, well, I'll have a go. Laurie Sanchez got across well.
Southgate again, the flag was up. And that must have been a pretty tight one as well on Chris Coleman. As you've been seeing this afternoon, plenty of red and yellow cards in the crowd. They were dished out by Wimbledon as people came through the turnstiles. Sam Haman said it's all part of making football a more enjoyable game, and he says it's too serious. That's why he's given everyone red and yellow cards. Not quite sure what Vic Callow thinks of it all. Bobby Earl with the flick on. Now, here go Palace once again with Simon Osborne. Paul Williams jinking around, trying to stay in an onside position. It's a good cross as well, is it? No, it's knocked back by Scales. Knocked on by Sanchez. Now Southgate. And he'll win a corner for Crystal Palace, and that's a little boost for the Palace supporters.
That's the difference between the two teams. They go on the attack, Crystal Palace, and if they create something, Jeff Thomas gets on his way, and he always gets picked up. In fact, it was Robbie Earl this time who picked him up. In general, it's been Laurie Sanchez. Now, when he goes the other end, Robbie Earl's going in free.
Roger it is to take the corner. And the flag has gone up on the far side. Whatever happens here won't count.
Yeah, as soon as you knock those corners towards the far post, They'll come out, they'll leave people inside that 6-yard box offside, and Chris Coleman is exactly there, he's offside.
Roger Joseph to take the throw for Wimbledon. Go out for another throw. Palarse probably quite happy to be technically away, really, although they're trailing 2-0. They have a better away record than at home. There's Sam Haman, who paces up and down the touchline and sometimes goes behind the goals to watch his beloved Wimbledon. He was down in the dressing room area about an hour before kickoff, and you could hear the ghetto blaster coming out of the dressing room to raise your voice to speak to him. There he is, off making his way to sit with the fans. What a character. Deserves all the success he gets here, Sam Haman. Corner to his team, which Ardley will take. And it might find its way to Lawrie Sanchez, who got the header. Skimmed off Sanchez.
They should have scored, shouldn't they? They let him get in. There's a little bit of a crowd on the near post. He just goes over the crowd. Lawrie Sanchez gets in there. They let him get in there at the back. Should have scored. He's only got to keep it down.
Holdsworth going for it. Richard Shaw getting there, and Holdsworth had his foot up. Free kick. And Richard Shaw himself will take it again. There's Lawrie Sanchez. It's not a very good free kick though by Richard Shaw. Roger trying to find a way back in. Here goes Ardley no doubt for Wimbledon. Finding Holdsworth. Shaw coming across with the sliding tackle, and Roger, well, he can only give it straight back to Wimbledon. Andy Clark on his own up front at the moment. Well, if he managed to connect properly on that, it would have been quite spectacular. But away it goes for the goal kick.
They have had an outstanding first half, Wimbledon. You know, as much as they do get critics, it's a lovely diagonal ball. He pulls away Andy Clark. He could have got it down, really. All right, he tried a volley, but he could have got that one down. Got in the back of the defender. He got in behind Eddie McGoldrick.
Came from Barnet, £150,000. Fitzgerald with the header. Coleman trying to get through and just took a little tumble. Warren Barton chasing this. Simon Osborne wins the throw, which Eddie McGoldrick will take. Back for McGoldrick. McGoldrick now hitting the cross in towards Coleman, who can knock it back for Southgate. His shot blocked though. Richard Shaw got his foot in well ahead of Gerald Dobbs, but again the attack breaking down for Crystal Palace.
He seems to be everywhere as well when they're defending Lawrie Sanchez. Obviously he's a big man, he's good in the air, but he's defending well as well. He's getting his foot in. He's patrolling in front of his back four very well, as well as picking up Jeff Thomas.
And the third longest serving manager in the top flight has one or two problems, to say the least.
Ian, I would think he's concerned about the picking up, the marking. They don't seem as though they're with it at the moment, Crystal Palace. They're letting players run. No, they're not picking up at dead ball situations.
Dean Gordon, the man called offside.
I mean, how many times have we seen Robbie Earle in the Crystal Palace box virtually free?
Probably be quite happy for the half-time team talk. There's Robbie Earle again, edging towards the edge of the Palace area. Fitzgerald then to take the free kick, taking his time over it. Eventually he gets around to it. And that's going to go right through to Nigel Martin, who called well to Andy Thorne. Immediately hoofed back down the other end. John Scales with a header. Jeff Thomas and Dean Gordon will chase this. And will go the way of Wimbledon, as the first half by and largely has. There is the half-time whistle then. The goals coming from Robbie Earle and Dean Holdsworth. Disappointment for Crystal Palace. There's Earl, who met the first with a brilliant header, and Dean Holdsworth, quite superb as well, pouncing after a mistake by Nigel Martin. The thoughts of Andy Gray coming up with Richard Keyston at the break. Wimbledon lead by 2-0.
Here's a once-in-a-lifetime chance for your family to join the World Wrestling Federation Superstars, and it's all just a phone call away. Just dial this number and have your viewing card handy. You'll need your number for identification. If you're the lucky winner, we'll fly you and 3 others to America for an unforgettable summer holiday. You'll get 7 nights at a top hotel, £1,000 spending money, VIP guest seats to a new World Wrestling spectacular, the King of the Ring, plus a chance to meet the superstars in person. So pick up the phone, have your viewing card handy, and dial now to enter the free prize draw. Phone 0506 484848. That's 0506 484848. On Easter Sunday, those superstars will be rampaging through your living room from Sheffield Arena at 6 on Sky Sports. Then at 8, the immortal Hulk Hogan stars in the premiere of Suburban Commando on Sky Movies Plus. Now, get dialing, and you too could be a superstar.
And that's the end of the first half.
You need strength and beauty. You need energy, which must be harnessed to give you control. You want to be safer. You need comfort. And you want to be in harmony with your surroundings. Mondeo has it all. Beauty with inner strength. Mondeo from Ford.
It was a Friday evening, and Joe was out. And the city said to Joe, "Good evening, Joseph, and what will be your pleasure tonight? Perhaps a glass of beamish while you decide." "The city comes alive," smiled Michael, "when darkness falls." Very clever thought, Joe, for Michael.
This is Carl Banks. His career has been plagued with injury after injury after injury. However, none of them were his. Carl Banks, linebacker, only wears pony.
From the all-new Mondeo to the latest Fiesta diesels, the different ways to drive them, and all the current special offers, you get the information you want delivered direct to and through your front door. The spring blueprint for a new Ford is now available. Call 0800 111 222 for your free copy now.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with R.
Give up.
Oysters. They're bubbled and crunchy and smooth on your tongue. I spy with my little eye something beginning with A.
Give up.
Another oyster.
Clever boy, Roy.
I spy with my little eye something beginning with T.
T-bone steak flavor oysters. Tree. Puck. Tuba. Tonsil.
Roysters, raised the American way.
A place where single guys keep furry meat.
Refrigerator.
The game is taboo. Get your team to guess the secret word without using the 5 best clues.
What would be on a custom-made shirt?
Sleeves.
Are any of these words helping you?
Play taboo at your next party.
I need a new team.
This certainly is turning out to be a game of two halves.
Welcome back, as we usually do. Let's check out the match facts. Wimbledon 2, Crystal Palace 0. 7 shots from Wimbledon, 4 on target, 5 from Palace, but they too have had 4 on target. Thank you. Where's that come from? 9 corners in total, 7 forced by Wimbledon. Only 7 offside decisions, which might surprise a few people. Here come the goals again. Andy Gray. Robbie Earle got the opener.
Yeah, Don Howard mentioned that Robbie Earle's one of the best at getting forward from midfield, and he certainly proved that. But the biggest difference in the first half for me has been the quality that Neil Ardley, the number 7 of Wimbledon, has produced into the box. But watch Robbie Earle. He's tempted to go near post here, Richard, but he sees Andy Thorne's got it covered and just checks his run, and that's the crucial moment in the whole move. As the ball arrives there, and at the end it's a simple header for Robbie Earle. But just watch it again. I said he's tempted to go near post. You see he's making a break for it, but checks his run. Ardley produces a quality ball, and it's a simple header, really. But a great ball. I mean, there looked nothing on when Dean Holdsworth actually picked the ball up, and he actually turned back on himself and looked like he was going back towards his own goal. He suddenly spotted Neil Ardley, and the 2 balls, one from Holdsworth, and then that cross, and really, for someone like Robbie Earle, that's a simple header.
Second one was made, well, rather taken by Dean Holdsworth, who was a major player in the creation of that one.
Yeah, again, it's Ardley digs out across from nowhere. Nigel Martin will have nightmares about this. It's slippy, it's wet. But as I said before the game, the one thing you know about Dean Holdsworth is he puts himself in positions or areas where he's likely to score a goal. And it's no surprise to me that when the goalkeeper drops it, the first person to react was Dean Holdsworth. I mean, that's what's striking. That's what real striking is all about. That's those type of goals there when you're just gambling and things like this and you're around goalkeepers making mistakes are the difference between 10 goal a season and 20 to 25 goal a season men. Goals like that.
And a quick look at the bottom of the FA Premier League underlines really why Crystal Palace have to get back into this match. Remembering, of course, that Sheffield United play tonight against Manchester City, and that one is also live here on Sky Sports. With Palace have got to get something out of this, Andy, haven't they?
Yes, definitely. The problem they have now is getting back into the game. Wimbledon look as if they've got a tail. Joe Kinnear's got his side buzzing. They've looked more dangerous, they've looked more positive, they've looked more threatening for me in the whole of the first half. Steve Cotwell's got a problem. He's got a back 4 in there that probably is playing together for the first time this season, and at times it's looked like that. Shaw playing in the middle, normally plays it right back. Eddie McGoldrick playing it right back, normally plays sweeper or plays forward. Roger at left back, who doesn't play left back normally. They've only really got Andy Thorne as a genuine central defender playing his normal position, and that's caused them problems. They gambled in pushing up, and Wimbledon, now Don Howe's quite rightly said, have just knocked it over the back 4, timed their runs well, and have had problems all day with it.
Well, Palace need to get back into it. We'll find out shortly whether they can. It's a big day here on Sky Sports, live sport all the way. Quarterfinals day in the Sky Snooker International down there in Plymouth with an update. Gary Norman.
Thanks very much, Richard. Well, 2-0 to Wimbledon, but it was 4-2 when you left us to Steve Davis. Frame 7 went Nigel Bond's way. It went 4-3, but frame 8, well, it was Titanic. 45 minutes it lasted. They played some 20 minutes on the last red, but Steve Davis came through in the end, potted the colours. Therefore, he goes through to the semi-finals with a 5-3 victory over Nigel Bond. One place remaining in the semis. Join us tonight, 9:30, to find out whether it's Ken Doherty or Tony Jones that will take that place.
Gary, thanks very much. We've got Rugby League, of course, coming up at 5 o'clock. Wigan against St Helens. That could be the championship decider. Next, back to Selhurst Park for that Premier League match between Wimbledon and Crystal Palace. The Dons are the tenants, and they lead at the moment by 2-0. Second half live next.
It was a Friday evening, and Joe was out. And the city said to Joe, "Good evening, Joseph, and what will be your pleasure tonight? Perhaps a glass of Beamish while you decide." "The city comes alive," smiled Michael, "when darkness falls." Very clever thought, Joe, for Michael.
Why are these videos so complicated? Do they think we're all qualified astronauts? User-friendly video. What's it do? Is shaking warmly by the hand?
No, sir.
The new Amstrad user-friendly video is so easy to use. Just set the channel, set the clock, press send, and you're all set for same-day timed recordings.
In fact, if you can't use it in 5 minutes, get your money back.
Oh, take it. Good grief.
Just £249.99, the new user-friendly video from Amstrad.
You need strength and beauty. You need energy, which must be harnessed to give you control. You want to be safer. You need comfort. And you want to be in harmony with your surroundings. The Mondeo has it all. Beauty with inner strength. Mondeo from Ford.
Well, it was my daughter's wedding day, but we won't be going to church. Her future spouse has chickened out. He's left her in the lurch. He's worried about buying a house. The home arranger at the Leeds is a home buyer's dream come true. Once you've found your ideal home, he does the work for you. He deals with the solicitors, so the legal side's less fraught, and he tells you just what's going on in a 4-weekly report. Thanks to the home arranger, the wedding's on, it seems. He'll sort out the house buying, and it doesn't cost a bean.
The Leeds Home Arranger. You find the home, we'll do the homework.
From the all-new Mondeo to the latest Fiesta diesels, the different ways to drive them, and all the current special offers, you get the information you want delivered direct to and through your front door. The spring blueprint for a new Ford is now available. Call 0800 111 222 for your free copy now.
Oh, Tony, that might be worth a little replay.
Cracking idea, Ralph.
Oh, yes, there she is! Is this little madam gonna pop that balloon? This could be another classic example of the hit of Real Oranges. It's Tango great, Tony! It's Tango exploding on its taste buds.
Yes, Ralph, what a shocker.
Oh, there she goes again!
She's done a tremendous job. Smashing.
You know when you've been tangoed.
After their last battle, Boxing News called it the fight of the year. Now, Andy Till and Wally Swift meet again live on ringside. There's no love lost between the light middleweight division's top men. Non-stop action is guaranteed.
Till has got it!
The fight for the right to keep the Lonsdale belt Wednesday live at 10 on Sky Sports.
So 2-0 to Wimbledon at Selhurst Park. Could have been 3, Andy, but for a fabulous save from Nigel Martin, who maybe made amends for the earlier slip.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be any consolation to Nigel. He's expected to make great saves. But again, Robbie L was the one who's causing all the problems. You see, as this comes down, it's the number 7 again. It's Neil Adler. I think, no, in fact, it's not. It's Dobbs who digs across at this time. But Robbie L has got himself in that position. And I wonder if Dean Holdsworth thought it was going in. I think he just seems to check, doesn't he, Dean Holdsworth? It's a great save. But Dean Holdsworth must have thought, I can only think that was going in, so he just checked his run. Otherwise, a simple tap-in would have given him a 3-0 lead.
Still to come on the long Good Friday at 5 o'clock. Rugby League action, the game that could decide the championship. Wigan against St Helens at 6:45. From the Premier League again, Sheffield United against Manchester City, including the goals from White Hart Lane, where Spurs beat Norwich today 5-1. And at 9:30, it's back to Plymouth to rejoin Gary Norman for the International Open Snooker quarter-finals day. The Monday Night Football. Again, another big match now. Blackburn Rovers, who are chasing a European place all of a sudden, against Ipswich Town, who aren't out of trouble at the bottom just yet. 7 o'clock start for the Monday Night Football, live from Ewood Park. This afternoon, we're waiting for the second half to start between Wimbledon, so near and yet so far, and Crystal Palace, who both, of course, share Selhurst Park. That must be a strange feeling for Palace, Andy. They're the away team today, but playing at home.
I mean, I think that's something we're going to have to get used to. I would imagine that in the years to come, Richard, we're going to see more and more clubs actually sharing grounds. I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. It's the second year now they've been doing it with Wimbledon. They'll be quite used to it. What they won't be so used to, as we saw from the stat before the game, is losing to Wimbledon. There haven't been many losses for this Crystal Palace side against Wimbledon in recent years, and they'll be out to make amends. I think we'll see a marked difference, certainly in their attitude the second half. I think they'll up the tempo of their game a little bit and try and put Wimbledon under far more pressure than they did first half.
Message from Steve Coppell, short and simple. We must get something out of this match. Match commentators Don Howe and Ian Crocker.
Yes, it's the tenants 2, the landlords 0. And with Sheffield United playing Manchester City tonight, well, Dave Blassett and his team are probably enjoying it, I would imagine, because they could go above Crystal Palace at the bottom of the table. A substitution for Palace, and it's John Humphrey who's come on, vastly experienced, wearing 12, and Simon Osborne has gone off. Are you surprised to see that, Don?
Yes, I am in some ways. If there had been a fullback gone off, I'd have thought it'd been young Simon Roger, because Neil Hardley down this right wing, I mean, he's knocked in so many quality crosses. He needs somebody to play it in this left back spot. But it could be that there's an injury there.
John Humphrey, who got injured in the last game on Sky Sports that Crystal Palace were featured in against Chelsea in a 1-1 draw. Palace have really got to start buzzing and going for it at the start of this second half. Chris Coleman.
I've got to say this though, Ian, this is where he can play, Eddie McColdrick. He's a good cross of the ball as well.
Andy Clark, that's cut out. Southgate trying to weave his way through the boggy middle of the park. Gets the free kick from Andy Clark. John Humphrey on for Simon Osborne. Richard Shaw to take the free kick. Towards Chris Coleman. And it's still bobbing about into the box there. It's laid back for Paul Williams and blocked away by Fitzgerald. Now here goes Andy Clark, and Crystal Palace could be caught here. Clark, I think he wants to do this by himself. He's got support from Holdsworth. He finds Dean Holdsworth. This must be three, and it is Dean Holdsworth yet again. Surely finishes off Crystal Palace. A simple move. Clark, the creator. Holdsworth once more, the lethal finisher.
It was a great finish. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it was good defending on the edge of the box. It gets knocked out to Andy Clark. After he goes on a run, John Humphries, he's just come onto the park. I don't know whether he's trying to push him on his left foot or his right foot. He goes inside him, gets his head up, sees Dean Ellsworth. He just passes the ball into the corner of the net. Lovely goal. Here he comes again, you see. Goes inside him quite easily. Picks out a nice pass. And that's where he's very good, Dean Holdsworth. He can put those away all day.
17th goal of the season. And what a season he's having. He's already he's going to get a bronze bust of himself, actually. Sam Herman has promised it if he got 15 goals. Well, he's passed that. Talking to Sam down by the dressing rooms, and he said he's already commissioned it. McGoldrick to take the free kick, though, for Palace. Can they come back into it? Here's Jeff Thomas, maybe. And it just wouldn't fall for Thomas, and that was fairly typical of Crystal Palace's luck. It just doesn't run for you.
Yeah, it's quite surprising, Dean Holdsworth, how well he's done since he's been at Wimbledon. He seems to fit into their way of doing things. There's that ball to the back post. Laurie Sanchez did quite well. And who's in there again? Jeff Thomas. But Dean Holdsworth, I was talking to Terry Burton, the Wimbledon coach. He said he's one of the best players he's seen in and around that box.
Nigel Martin with the hook clearance towards Dean Gordon. Well, we said Crystal Palace desperately needed a goal at the start of the second half. Unfortunately for them, there was a goal, but it went to Wimbledon. Dean Holdsworth, and Sam Herman already commissioned that bronze bust that he's promised him for getting 15 goals this season. Here's Neil Ardley, and Wimbledon storming forward once again. It's good recovery play though by Jeff Thomas, although he gave it away to Roger Joseph. And the tackle by Simon Roger, and as Gerald Dobbs threatened, Roger Joseph with the throw-in. Ardley, they're just getting away from the Palace players, and in the box once again is Holdsworth, who's on a hat-trick. And he managed to scramble the ball through, but Nigel Martin was there.
He's got great anticipation to where the ball's going to drop in that box. Watch him here, he's on the back post. He senses he's going to drop into that near post. It takes 2 defenders to stop him scoring.
What a season he's having since that move from Brentford, Dean Holdsworth. Let's join Peter Hutton, shall we, at pitch side for news of what's happening there.
Bit of news from half-time. Dean Holdsworth had actually had treatment all the way through half-time. Holdsworth being worked on his back during half-time. Then he came out straight away and scored the goal. The Palace substitution, Osborne and Humphrey switching over. That a tactical substitution. No injury to Simon Osborne.
OK, so John Humphrey on, Simon Osborne off, and Dean Holdsworth. Well, Steve Allen, the physio, obviously did a good job on him. But here go Palace now with the free kick, which eventually they will take. It's laid off for the shot to come in from Roger. A great stop that from Hans Sagers. That's why he's the favourite for the Wimbledon Player of the Year.
Yeah, but winning a cracking free kick by young Simon Roger. He didn't half-tank that one. He did spot on. And Hans did exactly right. He just helped it on over the bar.
Simon Roger then with perhaps the best chance Crystal Palace have had. Corner whipped into the near post. Sagers comes for it. Didn't get to it that time. Might have got just a neat little flick on it, but nothing too much. It's knocked back in by Richard Shaw. Coleman jumps. Southgate's in there as well. And now Andy Clark. On the line, but Southgate had spotted where it was going. Unfortunately for him, he wellied it straight out of play. Gareth Southgate, who was injured his foot playing against Wimbledon back at Christmas in the Crystal Palace home match here, and was out for a few weeks. Powerful header by Clark. Gordon, though, stabs it to Jeff Thomas. Now Sanchez. Real workhorse for Wimbledon, Laurie Sanchez. Mind you, we've got 11 workhorses, really. Great spirit amongst the Wimbledon team. There always has been. And that's why they are safe and secure in the Premier League. Crystal Palace, though, in real trouble. Andy Thorne trying to find Williams. A jump from Scales, and Hans Sagers will get to that easily. And really, Wimbledon do deserve their success. Sam Man having a chat with his great friend there, Vinnie Jones. He really is a character. I dare say he'll be toddling off round the side of the pitch to watch shortly. Chris Coleman, only Williams forward, but there is support arriving. Coleman, though, with a poor cross, and Hans Sagers says thank you very much.
Yeah, he's got to get that ball crossed outside that 6-yard box. They're having a go at it, Crystal Palace. They're getting people forward.
Jeff Thomas and Robbie Earle almost clashing there, but not quite. And here goes Ardley now, under pressure from Simon Roger. Can he get past him? He is at the moment. Plenty of pulling going on there. Got the cross in. Andy Thorne had to clear. Neil Ardley, just 20 years of age, born in Epsom. And here again we see the shirt pulling.
Yeah, well, you can see he knows he's got to get tight, Simon Roger. In fact, he's getting too tight. He's going to rip his shirt off there. But he has got to stop him getting those crosses in.
Now Gerald Dobbs, this time getting the cross in, and the header there. And it's another one for Wimbledon. 4-0. And this really is turning into a romp. And I think it's Robbie Earle in there once again, who's taking the celebrations.
Ian, I don't understand it. I can't. I mean, give Robbie Earle 10 out of 10. I mean, his head is a super header. To throw in. Turns nicely there, Dobbs, into the middle of the goal. Who's there free? Robbie Earle sticks it away. Here comes the cross again. He doesn't miss those, I'll tell you.
And here we go, Wimbledon once more with Dobbs getting the cross in, and Robbie Earle once again looking for it. Really is having quite some game, and And Palace have not learned the lessons from when he got the first goal to when he got the fourth.
Well, I'm afraid we've got to put it down to Gareth Southgate. He just ain't getting his job done properly. He should be picking up Robbie Earle. He should be covering him, especially when he goes in their box.
Wimbledon have all bar 2 players forward. And it comes again, and Nigel Martyn was nowhere near getting that, and this time the header came in from Scott Fitzgerald up from the back. And unfortunately for Nigel Martyn, it wasn't on target. Well, I wonder if Wimbledon could have even imagined that scoreline in their wildest dreams. 4-0.
They are missing big Eric Young at the back there. They are vulnerable to high balls into the box. No doubt about it, Crystal Palace.
But won't keep that one in. They're also missing Chris Armstrong, of course, who is really proving by the fact that he's got this ban just how important he is to Crystal Palace's survival.
Yeah, and they're also missing when they're defending a dead ball situation, because the lad comes back and picks up big players and copes with them.
How Palace and how Chris Armstrong must rue sending off at Sheffield United, who will be looking to go above Crystal Palace in the Premier League against Manchester City tonight, live on Sky Sports, of course. Double helping of top football on Good Friday, and here go Wimbledon again. It's Roger Joseph steaming well forward. Challenge came in from Dean Gordon, but it was a fair one, and Simon Roger can try and find Paul Williams, and does. Can Williams hook it in here for Chris Coleman? It's laid in, and Scott Fitzgerald got there as well. And the referee, Vic Callow, decides that it will be a goal kick. It came off Coleman.
They do look dangerous, Crystal Palace, when they do the same as what Wimbledon are doing, plumb the ball into the corner of the pitch. There goes Paul Williams, gets across in, there's a fight ball in the box. Scott Fitzgerald did very well defending there.
Looking for even more. Andy Clark this time. And Andy Clark drills it. He's keen to get a goal.
Well, they keep picking balls up and running at those defenders. I can't understand why Crystal Palace just don't get tighter. Look at the space he's got there as he picks that ball up. It can go any way he wants to go. Gets across on his left foot, which is his best foot, and gets his shot in.
Can Dean Gordon get to this for Palace and give them some sort of lifeline and some sort of hope? Although it would take nothing short of a miracle really to truly hold themselves back into this game. Here goes Robbie Earle. 2 goals for him this afternoon. Warren Barton didn't keep it in. Free kick, and there is a man who does have problems. 3rd longest serving boss in the top flight, and we'll be happy to see Chris Armstrong and Eric Young back. They finished their bans today, of course. How he needs them. Humphrey to take the free kick, and it might find its way to Connell, will it? No, Roger Joseph can tidy things up for Wimbledon, trying to find Gerald Dobbs, and there's nobody for Palace on that left-hand side. Andy Clark here in acres of space. Paul Williams decides he'll run across and try and get to him. Clark skipping easily past Williams though, and still going. Can he go all the way? No, he can't, because the challenge came in by Southgate. Back in 83-84, Wimbledon won 5-0 against Crystal Palace, a record win for them over Palace, and obviously a record defeat for the owners of Selhurst Park as opposed to the tenants. Here goes Gerald Dobbs. Foul on him, and it's turning a little bit nasty in there. Andy Thorne went in, and Gerald Dobbs appears to have taken a little bit of a knock, and Vic Callow will need to calm things down a bit and have words with Andy Thorne.
Yeah, his tackle was very late there. I mean, Gerald Dobbs had played the ball off, and Andy arrived.
Let's see what the fans thought of it with their red and yellow cards. Nearly always red cards. Vic Callow then taking the name of Andy Thorne. He goes into the book. He's also put his team, Crystal Palace, under a bit more pressure here. Barton and Ardley standing over the free kick. It's Ardley who swings it in. It's just too high for John Scales. And Andy Thorne's clearance there is going out for the corner, much to the delight of the Wimbledon fans behind the goals.
Well, here comes the challenge. You can see he's well late. I mean, the ball's virtually arrived at his passing area. And he's so late there, Andy Thorne.
Cover corner with from Ardley towards Sanchez. It missed everybody. Coleman back there defending, and he needed to be. Gerald Dobbs with the challenge, and Dean Gordon there as well. Ball taking some time to be returned from the crowd. Eventually it will be. Well, Gerald Dobbs sent off at Oldham last week in that 6-2 nightmare. Wimbledon 6 days on, having a much better time of it. Fitzgerald will easily find Sagers. Not too easily though, and it was going so fast there. Thought it was going to go out for the corner, but Sagers had to whack it into touch as it was. Sagers oh so popular with the Wimbledon fans. Rogers throw in finds Dean Gordon, who wins the corner for Crystal Palace. McGoldrick will take it. In it comes, and across the face of the penalty area it goes. Simon Roger knocking it back in. Dean Gordon in there as well. Was there a handball? There were half-hearted claims. Eddie McGoldrick can't even find a way through for Crystal Palace. Most of the claims coming from the supporters, though, not surprisingly, in increasing frustration. Dick Callow of Solihull, though, one of the most experienced referees in the business.
Yeah, well, he bobbed about at that corner in and around. I think you'll find it's Warren Barton who comes and clears it in the end. I mean, if it did his hand, it was accidental.
Didn't know too much about it. It's Nigel Martin, who made his debut for England against the CIS in Moscow last year. It's not a bad kick either, but John Scales jumps highest. Robbie Earle and Jeff Thomas will go in for this one. Thomas easily getting there first. Now Williams. Dean Gordon. First time cross from Gordon. McGoldrick coming in, but it's going to be too far. McGoldrick having to jump over the barriers behind the goal, and another chance goes begging for Palace.
Yeah, well, there's the difference, isn't it? You know, it's the difference of quality of crosses. Neil Hardley, I mean, he's got down this right wing. Every time he puts a cross in, people can get on the end of it. Every time Crystal Palace get into the crossing area, it's either too close to the goalkeeper, or it's too long, it's not on the spot.
I was talking to a couple of Crystal Palace fans before the game who said without Chris Armstrong they got no chance of scoring, and at the moment they're being proved right, and it's Wimbledon once again pushing for a 5th goal with Joseph. Just didn't quite come off though. Gerald Dobbs trying to find a way through, and Nigel Martin now feeding Dean Gordon. Gordon though running into a bit of bother in the shape of Roger Joseph. Throw goes Palace's way. Simon Roger to take it. Gordon looking for it. Same towards Coleman, who skimmed it on nicely to Gordon. Palace will do well. They're just being shackled every time they get the ball. Paul Williams, though, wins the throw. Taken quickly by Coleman to Williams. But John Scales is covering and will probably go out of play. Indeed it does. John Scales linked with a move to Liverpool earlier in the season. And I wonder if Wimbledon will be able to hang on to him during these summer months. They've had to sell some very good players over the years, of course, to survive. Terry Phelan, Keith Curl, you think of, and a few legs flailing in there. The outcome of it being, the referee might well give a drop ball here, actually. Indeed he will.
Yeah, there wasn't a foul there. It's just a kind of scrimmage where the ball got stuck between Roger Joseph's legs.
Simon Roger finds Southgate. Southgate going towards the most crowded side of Wimbledon players of that particular area. Andy Thorne jumping well, but only giving it straight to Earle, who's like a man possessed this afternoon. Holdsworth to Clark, and now Warren Barton. cut out by Humphrey. Southgate finding Coleman. McGoldrick suddenly discovered that he had a bit of space, Eddie McGoldrick. And he'll hope to use it wisely. Now Williams looking to get the cross in, but Warren Barton is there covering for Wimbledon, who just look as if they've got more players on the parket sometimes than Crystal Palace. Here's Southgate. Williams once again. And it's blocked by Scott Fitzgerald. And Barton can welly it towards Dean Holdsworth. 2 goals for Holdsworth. And 2 for Robbie Earle. He's gone down, and he's going to need a little bit more treatment from Steve Allen, Wimbledon physio. ...38 goals for Brentford last season. Post-war best for them, that. 17 so far this term, and there's the challenge on Dean Holdsworth, but he's up and okay on a hat-trick. So too Robbie Earle. And Wimbledon have really cruised it this afternoon. Great tribute to their spirit.
Well, I suppose we could talk about Robbie Earle all day now, Ian, but there's no doubt about it. There's Joe. I mean, he must be absolutely pleased to death. I mean, last week he'd be down in the dumps, losing 6 at Oldham. This week his team have played absolutely brilliantly.
Really has done a fabulous job, and all credit to him. Scales. Clemens came in on him, and it was an unfair one by Chris Coleman. Free kick Wimbledon.
I know Wimbledon worked very hard at the training this week. I know for the fact they didn't even have a day off. I think they were so upset with last week's defeat at Oldham that they got to grip of the players, and they've worked hard at it, and obviously it's paying dividends.
As you can see, the rain still teeming down in South East London, as it has been for most of the day. Wimbledon, though, just love a good old scrap in the mud, don't they? That'll be hoofed clear by Roger. Scales jumping. Almost went on top of the stand, that one. Throw to Wimbledon there. Neil Ardley might well leave it for Roger Joseph. In fact, the referee has spotted that the linesman's flag was up, and it'll be a free kick to Palarse.
But coming back to Robbie Earle, he's not only that he can score goals. I mean, he's up and down. His stamina is absolutely brilliant, and he never stops talking to his teammates. I mean, in this form, you'd pick him for England, wouldn't you? I mean, he really is outstanding.
Well, Sam Haman says in his programme notes that Dean Holdsworth would be playing for England if he wasn't a Wimbledon player. Says they all get overlooked down here, and they do have a lot of young talent as well. They are an easy target for a lot of people in football, but they have done well, and that's a useful-looking cross for Crystal Palace, though, this time. And will it be scrambled in by McGoldrick, who was deep inside the penalty area? Away it goes for a Crystal Palace corner. He would have banged on Eddie, banging that one in, but it just wasn't running.
He made a mess of that, Warren Barton. Never really got hold of it, and he dropped to McGoldrick. Had half a chance.
Another corner, though, which Simon Roger races across to take. Palace 4 behind on corners and 4 behind on goals. Sagers comes and gets a finger to almost look like. Dean Gordon. Gordon doing well. He'll get the cross in, and that's a neat one. Hooked away. It's Holdsworth, I think, back defending on that occasion for Wimbledon. Doing the business at both ends. Coleman laying it off, and there is Holdsworth once again to clear. It's all over the park. John Humphrey under pressure from Andy Clark, and he had to belt it out. Warren Barton then with the throw. Wimbledon 12th before this game. It's all very crowded in that middle part of the table, though. Only 6 points separating the team in 5th and the team in 17th. So a couple of wins and you could be well up near the top. A couple of defeats and you could be down near the bottom.
Well, here comes the cross, and Warren Barton makes a mess of it, and it's his best foot, his right foot. And McGoldrick tries to get on the end of it, doesn't get the kindness of the bounce, and pulls it just wide of the goal.
Wimbledon, of course, will be eager to get the highest place possible because there's money for every Premier League club this season, and the higher up you are, the more you get, and they obviously need it. Wimbledon. Coming to the end of their second season as Selhurst Park tenants. They're hoping for a move back into the London borough of Merton within the next couple of years or so. Sam Hammam full of praise, though, for Crystal Palace and the way they've looked after them since arriving in his programme notes today. He's passing on his thanks to Ron Nodes and to everybody at Palace for making them so welcome. And I'm sure in a few minutes he'll be off, as I say, around the pitch and watching from a different angle.
He's a great fella, and he's very important to the spirit of this club, Sam Hammam. As well as him managing director, he spends a lot of time with the players, and he joins in a lot of the things they do, and he's very important to the spirit of this club.
Well, he was down there geeing them up in the dressing room before the game, and that obviously helped. John Humphrey get another bite at it. Throw in, though, goes the way of Wimbledon. Warren Barton to take it, former Maidstone man. Crystal Palace at least get a goal that would, I suppose, give them just a little bit of confidence in the run into relegation. Don't forget tonight, of course, at 6:45 on Sky Sports, another important match at the bottom, Sheffield United against Manchester City. And then on Monday at 7 o'clock, Blackburn Rovers against Ipswich, who have bombed considerably lately and are definitely not out of the relegation woods just yet. Well, he had a glittering career as a player with Manchester United, 42 caps for England, but he's now facing surely the toughest test of his managerial life. Paul Williams, who started in non-league football, drifting around Essex, bit of a West Ham fan by all accounts, but he started off at Charlton. His professional career, that is. And here go Wimbledon steaming once more with Scales through the middle, setting up Neil Ardley. Ardley's on his own on this right-hand side at the moment. He'll get the shot in. Nigel Martin gets down to it.
They do that ever so well, the two Wimbledon wingers. When they lose possession, they tuck in. And obviously the full-backs come in with them, but when they get possession, the wingers work back to width, and they hit balls out in that space. That's where they're getting their joy. And there's Neil Ardley getting a shot in on the edge of the box.
Ardley, one of the many promising youngsters that Wimbledon have coming through the ranks. Indeed, their U team has just won the South East Counties League Division 2 title for the second time in 3 years, beating Crystal Palace to it, I do believe. Palace, though, with a throw, which Simon Roger will take. Dean Gordon suddenly finding himself in a bit of space. Cross towards McGoldrick, and that'll be Hans Sagers, and it'll be Hans Sagers comfortably.
Well, we keep seeing pictures of Stevie Coppell, and obviously he's thinking to himself, how can we get ourselves back in the game? There's that cross to the back post, just a little bit too high for Eddie McGoldrick. But he's got to get to that back post if they are going to get goals. He's trying to think his way out of this. He's trying to say, what can I do to try and stimulate us?
Now, can Paul Williams find a way past Scott Fitzgerald? Williams surely holding him back. Free kick, Wimbledon. No doubt about it. Hans Sagers brought as a replacement for Dave Besson. Of course, let's get the touchline view, shall we, from Peter Hutton.
Just a moment down here that raised a smile. The Wimbledon fans chanting, Joey, Joey, give us the score to Joe Kinnear. Joe Kinnear looked at his fingers, tried to count up how many they'd scored and said he couldn't work it out, it was too many.
But he couldn't work it out at Oldham last week either. Great turnaround in the fortunes of Wimbledon, but typical of them to bounce back in such style. And this ball is almost making its way right up to our position on the television gantry. It just bounces away. Here's Jeff Thomas.
hasn't left Jeff Thomas, has he, Laurie Sanchez? Every time the ball's been in and around Jeff Thomas, Laurie Sanchez has been there.
Influential captain. Played 9 times for England before losing his place. He never lost, though, playing for his country. Former apprentice electrician. Chris Coleman going to retrieve the ball because no Wimbledon player seemed in too much of a hurry to do it. Roger Joseph to take the throw. Joseph taking his time, and that's annoying the Crystal Palace fans sitting just behind him. Thomas with the clearance. Joseph holding off Coleman. Now Sanchez. Scales, not a good ball though, cut out by Roger, who in turn gives it straight back to John Scales, and he accepts gratefully. Now Scales again gives it away with Andy Thorne. Oh, the offside flag was up. It's applauded by the Wimbledon back line. Paul Williams, the man in the offside position.
Yeah, it was offside. It wasn't much, but it was enough to be offside. He's got to keep making those runs, Paul Williams. That's when he's looked like a player, when he's spun out in behind fullbacks.
Scott Fitzgerald to take the free kick. He's had a good, confident game, the youngster, born in London, and he's come through the ranks of Wimbledon. Here's Chris Coleman. McGoldrick. He'll never give up, Eddie McGoldrick. He almost missed out there to Robbie Earle. Humphrey, though, trying to find Williams. Throw in Palarse. Now Humphrey. Looks like he was going to size up the shot now. Dean Gordon was shackled again by about 3 Wimbledon players. They really haven't given Crystal Palace any space at all. McGoldrick. Here's Southgate. McGoldrick went for the return. That was neat. The best move that from Crystal Palace, or the best bit of passing we've seen for some time, and sadly, rather typical of their fortunes, the cross was wasted.
It's typical of the quality of their crosses. I mean, they did well there. I mean, Wimbledon are holding the box very well and defending there. But Eddie McGoldrick makes a lovely run into the outside right spot. Now he's got them. All he's got to do is put it in behind those defenders. And for some unknown reason, he lifts it up behind the bar.
Eddie McGoldrick, who played in the non-league before joining Northampton and then Palace. Republic of Ireland international. Here's Williams. Richard Shaw. Williams going for the return. Now, can he spring something? He's got room for the shot here. Paul Williams, terrifically drilled shot as well. Once again, though, Hans Sagers was there to deny him.
Yeah, but he made himself some space because he made that little angle run out in behind fullback. Picks the ball up, goes inside the defender and got a cracking left foot shot on target.
The ball has gone straight down the other end to Nigel Martin, who again is going to aim it towards Hans Sagers, and once more the offside flag was up. Dean Gordon just slipping there on this treacherous surface. The rain, if anything, getting harder as the afternoon progressed. Hardly the best of Easter weather in London town. Dean Gordon, who is just 20 years of age, local boy, born in Thornton Heath in Surrey. Voted Palace Young Player of the Year in the 1991 season, such was the promise he showed then. Replaced George Mdar today. Fitzgerald now lobbing one in. Richard Shaw with a clearance. Sanchez, not the good headed by Laurie Sanchez. He recovered to get to it. Thomas though can bring it away. Williams. Coleman looking for it down the middle. This is what Paul Williams is good at, running defenders. He lays it off though. He'll find its way to Southgate, and Southgate is robbed by John Scales. Imposing presence in the Wimbledon defence.
Yeah, he can't get it together, can he, today, Gareth Southgate? He hasn't defended well, and he hasn't attacked well either.
Well, Tottenham Hotspur got 5 goals today. Can Wimbledon, in the few minutes that remain here, go for a 5th? Wimbledon substitutes look like they could be about to make an appearance very shortly. They've just stepped off the bench. There they are. Dean Blackwell and Paul Miller.
Well, one's a centre-back and one's a front player. Both young boys. Good futures in front of them.
Now Clark looking to get the cross in, and he did. Too close to Nigel Martin. Scales on Coleman there, and I think Scales followed through a bit, and Chris Coleman, to his credit, I thought he was going to go and have a bit of a set to with Scales, but he walked away in the end. There was the challenge, and substitutions being made by Wimbledon. Dean Holdsworth is going off, and so too Andy Clark, and Holdsworth gets a round of applause from not only the Wimbledon fans, but quite a few of the Palarse fans as well.
Well, Paul Miller will go up front. I don't know where Dean Blackwell's going to play.
I don't think Wimbledon would care where he plays at the moment.
Well, he's a centre-back, a good one.
Richard Shaw then, as Palarse look for a consolation. It's knocked on, and the header will come in from Dean Gordon, and away for the goal kick, and Gordon, but it came off a Wimbledon player. Let's see the weather conditions here in South East London.
Well, it's a nice cross to the back post. Andy Thorne does well. Knocks it back into the box. Yeah, that came off Roger Joseph at the end of it. That's a corner, which they don't get.
When you're struggling, and just look at the conditions here at Selhurst Park, and it's been played in those conditions throughout the afternoon. It was raining for a good few hours before kick-off as well. It's not been easy, but it has been the sort of weather that Wimbledon just love. And here's Neil Ardney now looking for that 5th goal. Robbie Earle with a lob in, and that was a bit tricky. The flag was up though, so it wouldn't have counted had it looped in. Let's join Peter Hutton, shall we, for some news about those substitutions on the touchline, Peter?
Yeah, just to confirm, there isn't any serious knock to either Dean Holdsworth or to Andy Clark. It was more a case of giving the substitute to run out and letting both Holdsworth and Clark get out of the rain. It didn't hang around on the bench at all. They went straight down into the dressing room and got out of the way.
You can't blame him for that. Now here's Chris Coleman, though, with a chance of a consolation, and it skipped over Hans Sager's crossbar. Again, Coleman claiming it came off a Wimbledon foot last, and he's rushing towards Vic Callow. Here it is again.
Gets there, Scott Fitzgerald again. I mean, that lad's only just come back into the team. He's had a great return to the ground, Scott Fitzgerald. He really has. I mean, he's another one. He's got a terrific football brain.
Palarse merely seeking a consolation now. John Humphrey did again and back in business. Palarse have the free kick. 12,275. I think Wimbledon might have hoped for a few more than that.
Well, Joe Kinnear is in that position, and he's in that luxurious position where he can take a couple of players off and put a couple of younger players on. He can save players from Monday's game.
Wimbledon, who play Chelsea, all teamed on Easter Monday, and yet another London derby. They don't have to travel much this particular Easter. But Chelsea gave them their biggest crowd of the season here, back over Christmas. And it hasn't been better today. Robbie Earle, he was getting his shirt pulled, but he still managed to find Neil Ardney. Ardney with a great cross in, but Nigel Martin will get to that one. Here's Eddie McGoldrick then. He doesn't give up running. Williams. The flag was up there against Dean Blackwell.
Well, he's put Dean Blackwell up there. And normally he's a centre-back. Obviously he must fancy him as a front player.
Crystal Palace, of course, often falls to play people out of position. In fact, I don't think a game's gone by when they haven't done this season. Steve Coppell has had that misfortune. It's happened again today. John Humphrey whacking it in, though, towards Chris Coleman. Now will it fall for Coleman? And he still can't find a way past Hans Sagers.
Yeah, well, it did fall for Coleman, and he tried to place it into the far corner. Here comes the ball into the box. John Scales goes strong for it. Still drops to Chris Coleman and tries to place it in the far corner. Hans reads it well and gets his hands to it.
Can Blackwell get to this? No, because Nigel Martin will get there first. Nigel Martin coming well out of his goal. Can Thomas get to this? No, he can't, because Gregory Sanchez is in there once again. And the flag was up though, this time against Gerald Dobbs. Wearing the number 9 shirt. It is usually worn by John Fashanu, of course, who's suspended along with Billy Jones. Roger with a free kick. John Scales met it first. It'll come to Humphrey. Humphrey had time to look to see what to do with it, and in the end didn't do an awful lot with it. And here goes Sanchez. Ardley. Team Blackwell will chase this, but it's always going to be Andy Thorne's ball, I think, and he did well to control it. It's given away. Now Ardley. Looking at his watch and seeing how long we have left to go, and Palarse are making another substitution, and Grant Watts is coming on, and the person who's going off, nobody making too much of a move yet.
I think it's Andy Thorne.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it isn't Andy Thorne. He started walking over, but Palarse can't quite decide yet who they want to bring off, I think.
Well, Andy Thorne's holding his hamstring. He's got a bit of a problem there, his right hamstring.
And just total confusion, and they can't bring Grant Watts on now. The referee has started taking the throw, and in the end Palarse do decide that they want to bring Andy Thorne off. Amid total confusion, referee Vic Callow finally allows it. Grant Watts will come on, and Andy Thorne, the former Wimbledon man up against his old team today, goes off. The Wimbledon fans, though, giving him a bit of applause as well. And a few red cards come to that. So Grant Watts, the youngster, member of the Youth Cup side that got to the FA Youth Cup final last season, losing to Manchester United, broke into the first team this term and scored, of course, against Chelsea in that famous Coca-Cola quarter-final cup night here. Free kick to Crystal Palace. Eddie McGoldrick will take it. Coleman, it's knocked down now. Simon Roger, he can't find a way through. Blackwell could pick this up. Only goes to John Humphrey though, and skips through everyone to the keeper, Sagers.
Well, it's been a very impressive performance from Wimbledon, Ian. Whatever their critics say about them, they've played fast, exciting football and scored some outstanding goals today.
They really are an easy target, but you can't knock them. They keep doing this, and they have played some good stuff, as they have done actually for all of the season, just that no one's noticed. Now, here go Crystal Palace. Jeff Thomas. Gordon. Well, the Palace fans frustrated at the scoreline and frustrated by the fact that they're going to be deeper in it as Sheffield United win tonight. Here's Southgate, though, looking for the consolation, and that's never going to find its way past the keeper.
They've got it right, Wimbledon, you see, and I think a lot of people, yeah, he could have knocked that ball out to the right wing, Darren Southgate.
Coleman. Dean Gordon nearby, and we'll get it eventually. And who will get here? Hans Sagers, John Scales, Sagers it is. Happy just to lie on the ball.
You see, coming back to Wimbledon, they do spend a long time working at this tactic. These balls plonked into the corner of the pitch, runners going into the corner of the pitch, supporting the ball in the corner of the pitch, getting good crosses in. They work at it day after day after day, and they don't get enough credit for it.
They play to their strengths, and you can't argue with that. That's what Joe Kinnear always says. That time he got a bit of praise. certainly seen off Crystal Palace comfortably. Wimbledon have been with a shout as London's top club from the end of the season. Always a bit of rivalry in the capital city about that. Groundsman will have his work cut out here after this game and in the next couple of days to get it fit again for Crystal Palace's match with Middlesbrough. What a crucial one that will be on Easter Monday. Here's Miller, Sanchez, Barton. Paul Miller will run after that. He might just get to it. Indeed he does. Good play that by Paul Miller. No doubt about that. Free kick. Grant Watts, the guilty man. John Scales has come up from the back, just moving into the box there. Barton will skip this one in, and the offside flag is up against John Scales, and also against Robbie Earle, I think. John Scales, 26 years of age, Yorkshire-born. Leeds United gave him a free transfer in the mid-80s. He spent a couple of years at Bristol Rovers before moving to Wimbledon in 1987. It cost just 70,000. He's now rated at over 2 million. Not a bad investment. Gerald Dobbs will chase this. Richard Shaw there also. And a bit of holding going on. Difficult to see who was doing it, and the referee let it go. Sometimes they can be a bit too keen, refs, to give free kicks for that. And it's good to see some good old-fashioned tussles and challenges that Callow has let go. Roger Joseph with this cross then. Nigel Martin flips that one. Here's Grant Watts. Sign of the future, I guess, at Crystal Palace, and it really should be promising because they, like Wimbledon, have got some good kids coming through. Couples kids. Here's Sanchez. Chris Coleman will try and block this, but this game really long gone for Palace.
Yeah, but they're still chasing that ball into the corner, Wimbledon. I mean, I don't know how many runs Gerald Dobbs has made into the corners of the pitch, but in these final minutes he's made another one.
Just 22 years of age. Only made 4 appearances before this season, but he's now established himself as a regular part of the first team. Wimbledon not in too much of a hurry to take this throw in. We can blame them. They'll be looking forward to the showers now. Barton managed to get the cross in, but it went straight out of play. It was tight on that touchline.
He's done a fair job today. Well, Barton, I wouldn't know how many times he's played left back, but it wouldn't be many, Ian. I mean, normally we all know him as a very good right back.
Another player who's attracted the attention of bigger clubs, shall we say, than Wimbledon. Wimbledon stand for the small, honest, hard-working man, Sam Herman says. At the moment, the small, honest, hard-working man ain't doing too badly. And there it is, the full-time whistle. Vic Callow signals the end of 90 minutes. Robbie Earle, absolutely outstanding for Wimbledon. He scored 2 goals. So too did Dean Holdsworth, who was substituted near the end, just to give him a rest, I dare say. Holdsworth in stunning form. And Joe Kinnear's men have bounced back from that 6-2 defeat at Oldham last week. But a fine 4-0 drubbing over Crystal Palace. Relegation problems continue for them. They'll be eager to see how Sheffield United get on tonight. Full-time score, Wimbledon 4, Crystal Palace 0.
Thank you, Ian. And Don Howe. It's a win that takes Wimbledon into the top half. And as Ian was saying, leaves Palace with a mountain to climb. Short break. We've still got the Rugby League to come, of course. Wigan against St Helens. That could decide Rugby League's championship. Next, we'll be looking back on the highlights from Selhurst Park.
Sheffield United against Manchester City live. Today at 6:45 on Sky Sports.
They think it's all over.
Like it your way, flame grilled, not fried, Whopper, extra onions, you got it. Chicken flamer, extra tomato, BK double, no pickle, no problem, in no time.
I like it. You want it your way at BK, you got it.
Need a fill-up? Then head down to your local Esso shop. We've got a fantastically low price on a 6-pack of Coke. Yet another great deal from Esso.
Peter's secretary, Kate, found her new Amstrad word processor easy peasy to use because the full-size screen let her see the construction of each page, while Dick's PA liked it because each client could have a separate disk. Kate herself, who was also the accounts clerk, suddenly remembered it was lunchtime, and the Dick was big and hunky, and could ditch the old typewriter. With a range of printers, Amstrad word processors start at £399.99.
Cost Wigan their big league crown. Saints have chased them all the way this season, and they know that victory at Central Park today will put them in line for their first championship in 18 years. But can the Saints down Wigan? It's Rugby League's match of the season. Join us exclusively on Sky Sports, 5 o'clock. Welcome back. The match facts. Wimbledon 4, Crystal Palace 0. That's the important one. No need really to go too much further. 4-0 to Wimbledon. Let's have a look back at the second half goals. Dean Holdsworth had struck early in the first half. He did so again early in the second. Andy, what did you make of this?
Lovely finish. Just at the time when Palace wanted a quick start. It's Wimbledon who get it, and this is what Andy Clark is good at. I like to see him do is run at defenders. He commits them, it opens up, and that is a finish of a very confident young man at the moment. Super finish, showing everyone that you don't have to blast the ball into the back of the net, Richard. If you're aware and you're confident as it comes across, the ball's crucial because he doesn't break his stride, Dean Holdsworth. Checks a little, picks his spot. That's a super finish.
Robbie Earle got the fourth before he also left the park. Let's check.
Well, it was fitting actually because these two, Earle and Holdsworth, were the two most likely to score goals for Wimbledon today in the absence of John Fashanu. And again, he's doing what he's done all his career. He's gambling on a cross in the box. He's getting in between defenders, and when he's getting there from 6 yards, you really don't expect him to miss.
FA Premier League table looks like this after today's matches so far. Remembering there's one to come. Sheffield United against Manchester City. Spurs up to 5th after beating Norwich 5-1. We'll have the goals later. Wimbledon now 10th, as you can see there. Bottom half looks like this. Crystal Palace 18th, Sheffield United, who play tonight, 19th, Oldham, Middlesbrough and Nottingham Forest in the bottom 3 at the moment. Coming next here on Sky Sports, and quite a day as well, the long Good Friday, the Super Sunday Extra is Sheffield United against Manchester City, and the goals from Tottenham against Norwich City at 6:45. Rugby League immediately after us. Wigan against St Helens, a match that could decide the championship. And of course, we're finishing with the International Open Snooker quarter-finals day down there in Plymouth at 9:30. That's the first half of a terrific double bill as far as the football's concerned. To Wimbledon. See you later on. Goodbye for now.
Now Gerald Dobbs, this time getting the cross in, and the header there, and it's another one for Wimbledon. 4-0, and this really is turning into a rob.
Sunday, only on Sky Sports, in association with Foster's. Would you like to win a copy of the fantastic new WrestleMania CD and the official WrestleMania t-shirt, then tune into Sky Sports Sunday at 6 for details on how to enter. The World Wrestling Federation are back, live from Sheffield Arena, only on Sky Sports.
All right, popcorn pickers, straight into the KFC Charters, the Colonel, and popcorn chicken. Bite-sized pieces of chicken in a formidable coating you can eat between tracks. So delicious that one bite leads to another bite, and only $1.29 you ain't tasted nothing yet. KFC popcorn chicken. Quite simply, popcorn-tastic, mate.
Hello?
Hi, Jerry, it's me, Linda. Just wondered if you fancy coming over. We could have a glass of
Hold on a minute, Linda. Is that sage and onion, Mum?
Jerry, they've just plumbed in the new jacuzzi.
Look, Linda, I'm really sorry, but Mum's just got a roast chicken stuffed with Paxo out the oven. I'll call you later.
Who was that, then?
Linda Lasardi.
Oh, not again, love.
Paxo, the stuff great chickens are made of.
How do you keep getting rid of stains like this, chocolate, without fading colours to this? A real problem with some traditional powders, but not with new Ariel Colour. It's got a unique Colour Plus system. The bleaching agents have been taken out, and they've put in colour-safe stain digesters. To prove it, I was asked to try it. After just one wash, Ariel Colour got the chocolate out, unlike some other powders. The more it's cleaned, the more it fades. But with Ariel Colour, it's clean and still green, even after 20 washes. So to get your whole wash clean, don't change your colours, change your washing powder. We did, didn't we? Yeah! New Ariel Colour digests stains without bleaching out colours.
Cover Shot, the brand new album from David Essex. His unique interpretations of old-time classic songs. Cover Shot, David Essex at his best.
I love entertaining, but I hate the ghastly aftermath, even with the dishwasher. First, the dirties, like this stuck-on egg. No, don't look, it's too awful. Then the delicates. Well, you can't trust conventional powders not to harm fine china, can you? Thank heavens for new Fairy. For the dishwasher, it's great at cleaning, naturally, so it even gets rid of sticky egg. And like Fairy, it's kind, so I can trust it with my delicate dishes as well. Unlike conventional powders, which can fade them. See? Beautifully clean. And my delicate dishes are in safe hands. New dishwasher Fairy takes care of the dirty and the delicate.
This bank holiday, Texas Tom's opening up his greatest patio range ever. Tables, chairs, sun loungers, parasols, and great prices. Like Quattro, just $24.95, the table and all 4 chairs. It's got to be Texas this bank holiday.
A few friends around last night, Mum.
1 or 2.
Yuck, you're gonna need a hand.
Oh, is that an offer? Thanks. Here's the flash.
What's wrong with this? Race ya.
You're on. Even in water, flash is faster on this tough, greasy stuff. Come on, give me some welly.
How to do that?
Go on.
You've done this before. That's great, Mum. I'll use Flash after my party.
What party?
Flash cleans greasy grime in half the time.
Lennox Lewis has a job to do. British Pride and the World Heavyweight title are at stake. Lennox Lewis versus Tony Tucker exclusively live on Sky Sports.